computer. H for Hustle podcast. Welcome back. We have another illustrious guest up ahead. So today we have Anthony Rosa from Fresh Start Advancement. Anthony, thank you so much for being on the show today.
What's going on? Hey, Jerome, thank you for having me on.
All right. So Anthony, what is Fresh Start Advancement?
Fresh Start Advancement is a financial coaching program that's really built for individuals, entrepreneurs that want a better understanding about personal as well as business credit.
Got it. So you teach people how to better their credit, or do you repair their credit and teach them, or is it both?
It's funny that you say that, right? I don't like the term repair.
Okay.
I think that when we're trying to find the financial strategies, there's a formula, and it's really just modifying what we're doing on a daily basis and making the adjustments to fit that formula. So, by role, I'm a financial coach. I don't like saying credit repair. I really like finding the root of the problem. So it's really like financial freedom is what we're preaching.
Got it. So what is this is a kind of like a question, what is the most common like root cause of most financial problems?
I think that in our daily lives, we kind of, for the lack of better words, get overwhelmed and we start the excuse game.
Okay.
I think that, one of the things is not knowing how credit is created, but also not taking ownership or the responsibility and wanting to improve ourselves financially.
Got you. So it's the lack of education, and then also not 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 making excuses for your actual finances.
Right.
Got it. All right. So before you were a finance guru, I know you had to like mess up some money to figure this out. So let's go backwards a little bit. How did you, what's your backstory? Where are you from? What's your origin?
Sure. Thanks for asking me that. I was born in Long Island Jewish Hospital, so in New York.
Okay.
I was kind of growing up in Jamaica, Queens. And then I moved over in the early 90s to Jersey. And typical statistic, inner city, single parent background with other siblings. And, we kind of get exposed to certain things. And sometimes, I hate to say about generational curses, but sometimes from our guardians or, our grandparents, they may not make the best financial decisions, or you get exposed to a lot of things, and for the lack of better words, it was really it wasn't until 2010, I'm fast forwarding, where I was kind of in a career change.
Okay.
I've always had that entrepreneur spirit, and I always knew that I didn't want to be in retail, and I really had the edge of seeing the pain that my mother would go through, getting almost evicted in the 6th grade, having financial troubles, that I'm witnessing my entire life. My mom working in factories. I had to start working at a really young age. I was 16 years old.
Got it.
Right. So 2010, I graduate college and I have some options, and, we can have another show and kind of talk a little bit more in detail about the transition from employee to employer.
But let's go into that real quick. So you said you start working at a very early age, and what jobs are you taking? Just like retail, any kind of jobs that you can get?
So, this is Fresh Start Advancement, right?
Yeah.
Fresh Start Advancement is, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Okay.
My senior year, I kind of was kicked out, and I was living with my brother. And, I played football and wrestled and throughout high school. And, I really wasn't, thinking about furthering my education. My mindset wasn't really where I wanted it to be or where it is now, right?
Okay.
Growing up in those environments. And it was just really about sports and, hanging out. And, and so it really hit me hard, when I was 17 years old and I had to really make a decision. And the decision was, I had to leave sports. I had to go to work. And so I started working at Target. You know, that
Got
was my
it.
first job. You know, I
Got
was
it.
working in Target. I was a Target cashier's rep, and I was a Starbucks barista.
Got
You
it.
know, and I would manage both roles in the Target in North Bergen.
And that
And
was just to help out the financially in the home, or just because now you were on your own, you kind of had to
no, I
figure
was
it
on
out?
my own.
Okay, got it.
To get, I was, you know, working miles away. I was going to school full time. I would work, you know, wouldn't get out until 10 o'clock. It would take me about an hour to get home. Then I would have to do like homework and, you know, my day would start at like 6 o'clock in the morning to catch the bus to get to school because I was living further away. So that whole 2002 was just,
Tough.
wow,
Yeah.
2006. Yeah, it was a good
So
transition.
where do you then finish school and say and get into like some sort of career path, or do you continue on this?
So again, it's all in the story of Fresh Start Advancement. I
Yeah.
built this program really on sweat equity, personal sacrifice, personal experience. So when I was going into my senior year of high school into college, I bombed my SATs. I really didn't, you know, I wasn't the best student. Um, and what I picked up in the lack of education, I kind of picked up in hustle and participation,
Okay. I
you
like
know.
that.
And so I would bomb a test, but I would probably be the best student in class that's interacting with the teacher,
Got it.
trying to understand it, but I would just bomb the test. I wasn't a big test taker, and those are some things that affect me now into my adult life, and those are other challenges that I face. But so when in senior year, my football coach, he was like, Anthony, you know, what is your plan? You know, I said, I don't really have one. He said, there's a school nearby, there's an EOF program. We might be able to get you into the EOF program. You might be able to play football. And is that something you would want to do? I said, Coach, you know, play football, school, it's for me. So I went off down there. It was the last day of receiving applications for EOF. They accepted my application. I went on the last day of interviewing. I was the last student to get approved into the EOF program.
What is EOF, by the way?
It's like a program, Alliance of New Jersey. It's a funding. I don't
Okay.
think they have it now. They did have it back in 2006,
Got it.
but it was a program that helped pay for students' education that qualified for low income.
Got it. Okay. So it was like a program that would help you pay for college.
Correct.
Got it. And you were eligible to play football as well?
And I was eligible to play football
Got you.
as
So
well. So
that's how you kind of got into college.
that is the only way I got into college.
Got it.
I did not fill out any applications. My plans was, you know, again, you know, work, try to hustle, figure it out, and most of my family and friends went to the military.
Got it.
You
So
know,
now you're in college. Are you picking up any skills, or are you kind of still doing what you're doing in high school?
so again, I carried over a lot of those, you know, I'm gonna play sports and you know, the college level is very different from high school
Yeah.
level, you know, from training to watching video to practices. And then I'm doing 5 classes a semester. So it was challenging.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit better because I was living on campus, you know, I had everything on campus. And this was like the life that I dreamt of in a sense, right? Inner city kid going to D1 AA. You know, I remember my first game against Monmouth. I have the equipment on and I'm in the locker room and I'm just like looking at my uniform and rubbing my thigh pads and I see the Nike sign and I'm like, am I really
Yeah,
here?
yeah. It's like
You
you're
know,
living a dream.
and I'm opening up, I'm getting playing time. It's not like I'm just there on this, you know. So it was surreal. Um, but my dreams were crushed very quickly
What
after
happened?
our freshman year in 2006. They canceled the program.
Why? What happened?
Funding.
Oh
We were a
man.
Jesuit school, and I don't know the real politics behind it, but I think funding got cut. They wanted to support more of the basketball and softball and soccer, and to be honest, I just think that maybe the program we couldn't recruit the elite of the, you know, and we didn't have the best facility, and maybe they felt that it wasn't driving in
The revenue that they
the
wanted.
revenue and the student attraction. So I
Got it.
think that they wanted to go a different way. But
Got it.
here I am at a crossroads. Like, you know, I didn't think I was going to get to college. I'm here for EOF. The program canceled. I really didn't want to go through the process of applying and transferring and being a walk-on and,
Doing the
you
whole
know.
thing.
So a buddy of mine, Noel Borges, he says, you know, I'm going to run for school president. Why don't you run for class president? And we'll run the school for the next 3 years we're here. And I was like, I don't like politics. He's like, Anthony, there's a lot of people, girls, parties, and you're going to be in front of everybody. I said, people, girls, party.
Sign
I'm
me up.
in. So I got a board. I had to create T-shirts. And mind you, I played middle linebacker, right? I was the mic on the field. I was the loudest on the field. You know, I would call offenses and strong right, strong left, strong left. So, you know, I had that, I guess, comfort level to be in a quad and have a mic and just
Talk.
be the loud one. And so, you know, I had that experience with creating boards and working on a budget. And, you know, I was still working in college.
Okay.
So I had to go back to work. I got my second job was at a bank.
Okay.
And I wasn't there too long.
Okay. Why is that?
So I was a teller. And this was really early in my career. We're talking like 2007, 2008.
Okay.
And a client deposited the money. It was over my threshold. I had to give the check and the cash to my supervisor.
Yeah.
Supervisor got into an engagement. I remember this was like it was yesterday. I made the deposit, but I didn't see that my supervisor gave them the money back in the envelope after I just cashed it and gave them the receipt.
What?
So I was short on my register because I made a deposit, but I didn't have cash.
There was no money there.
And I gave them the same amount of money.
Oh, man.
So it was like a $1,500 deposit. I'm short $3,000. And I'm in my first 30 days.
So it looks like you took the money away and you just made an accident.
Yeah, the cops came. A big investigation happened.
Oh, man.
This was like a Friday. Monday comes. I get called to the office. Mind you, I'm in a suit. I'm in banking attire.
Yeah.
I'm a sophomore in college. And, you know, I'm getting fired.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, here we go. Like, why am I getting fired off something that I feel like I was responsible for? Yes. But I also had a stamp of, you know, and whatever. I take the ownership now.
Yeah. But the senior person should have double checked what you were doing.
The position that I was in, you know.
Yeah. So you get fired really quickly. And what happens after that?
So, you know, like in life, I've had a lot of lows, but I feel like as quick as I go low, I bounce right back.
Okay.
So I go, Anthony, suck it up. I'm in a suit. I just got fired. I need a job. I'm in Journal Square in Jersey City.
Yeah.
There are 25 buildings around me. I just go start pitching buildings.
Really? Just walking in saying, hey, I'm Anthony Rosa?
I just walk in and say, hey, I'm Anthony Rosa. I go to St. Peter's College. I'm studying business management. I'm looking for a job.
Wow. That's a lot of hustle. A lot of people would never do that. But granted, you were already in a suit. Why waste the suit?
I was already in a suit. And I took the bus from 87th Street and Kennedy Boulevard to come down to Journal Square, which is probably a 35-minute bus ride down Kennedy Boulevard.
So you're like, I'm not going to waste that time.
I'm not going to waste it and go back up jobless and with my head down.
So what happens? Do you walk into how many buildings?
So here again, I'm praying in my mind. I'm trying to psych myself up. I speak to like 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not hiring. No, we're not hiring. I got some send me your resume. As I'm walking to the bus stop, I see Radio Shack from afar.
Okay.
And I'll never forget this. David Parra. I'm still friends with him to this day. I'm walking to the bus stop. I see Radio Shack from afar. And I say, I don't really want to go to Radio Shack. That seems like a far walk.
Mm-hmm.
So I go and I still walk away towards the bus stop. And I'm like, you know what, Anthony, you're down here. When are you going to ever come down here again? Just go to the Radio Shack and check it out.
Yeah.
I'm literally talking to myself. I turn around And I go. And I got that tactic of talking to myself during wrestling.
Okay.
Because in wrestling, my coach would tell us to envision the match. Envision if I take a shot and he moves his leg, where's his body gonna be?
Yeah.
So I'm starting to talk to myself and envision what can happen or what are my options. So I started that very, very, in the middle of my teenage years, like towards the end. I was 17 years old.
So you're walking yourself, talking yourself to Radio Shack.
Psyching myself out. I'm really trying to not listen to the negative voice in my head.
Okay.
Oh, don't go there. That's too far. You've already spoke to 15 people. They all said no. The probability of this person saying no is high.
Yeah.
Anthony, just go home.
Yeah.
I go to Radio Shack. This guy, young guy, sitting on the front, confident. Nobody's in the store. Sitting on the front where the register is, on the phone. Because this is when they would sell Singular and Sprint. So they would always try to sell the cell phones. Yeah. They had the TVs up, back in the day, Radio Shack. For those that are maybe in the newer times, Radio Shack's out of business now, so you might not know.
Yeah. Radio Shack was like the first Best Buy.
Yeah. It was a start for a lot of salespeople right now in today's world, right? So I go, David Para. And I go in, I said, hey, can I speak to the manager? He's like, manager's not here. I said, okay. Well, my name is Anthony Rosa. I'm studying business management right here at St. Peter's, a couple blocks away. I'm going to school full time. I can work from 1 to 9, Monday through Friday, because my schedule is early in the morning. And so he was like, I like how you talk. I'm the manager. Come to me. It was a couple of days. It was like a Monday. Come to me on Wednesday morning and we'll have an interview.
That was it?
And I was like, you're the manager? He was like, yeah, I'm the manager. I was like, why didn't you tell me? He was like, I just wanted to see how you would talk to me.
How you present
yourself. As if
yourself.
I wasn't the manager.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So whatever. I go and I get the job. And that was the first of my sales/retail
career.
And
got
now,
it. So question for you. I know right now you teach financial education and held credit. Where was your financial habits then? What were they like then? Were they terrible?
Well, so, for me, I guess like in Hispanic culture, they say use cash. If you don't have it, don't use it. Credit is the devil. Credit is debt.
Yeah.
You want to be associated with debt. So I had all these negative connotations.
Got it. So you were just making cash, spending cash.
Making cash, spending cash. Well, thankfully my mom opened the Bank of America account for me when I was a sophomore in high school.
Got it.
So I had a checking account.
Yeah. But nothing bigger than that.
No, I never had more than $100 in there.
Got it.
But it wasn't until Radio Shack where I would get paid commission on opening credit cards.
Oh.
So that's when I started talking about, hey, your daughter's going to college. Why don't you get her an iPad or a TV for her dorm or get insurance on it? It's $1,000. Why don't we get a Radio Shack credit card? And you could pay $25 a month for 24 months, 0 interest. So then I started like positioning and selling.
Gotcha.
And I was really good at it. In every sales position, I've been always ranked in the nation, thankfully. And I found that I had a gift of, they say, the gab, right?
Yeah.
Just
talking,
selling and creating a relationship.
It's funny how that like skill set that you had on the football field, right? Being the loudest, being like the most boisterous, telling everyone what's coming, the gab, right? Like the talking translates now into your first like sales career path, right? So it's almost like the same thing translates.
And a lot of the leadership qualities that I gained from being on the field of camaraderie and brotherhood and loyalty and putting in the time and the sacrifice and the pain that comes with all of it, that definitely carried over with me until now. Absolutely.
Got you. 1 minute. Hold on a second. So sorry about that. All right. So now the leadership skills that you all got, now you're selling credit cards and people are opening them up and you get ranked in the nation. What happens after, I guess Radio Shack? Where's your career take after that?
So, so I'm in Radio Shack and so I got picked to go into the management training program.
Okay.
So I started going into the management training program and I'm being trained to be a manager. But mind you, remember, football, freshman year canceled, sophomore year, I became class president. I started working full time at Radio Shack. So I was going to school full time, I was a class president, and I was working full time. And then I was a full-time partier and I was always in the gym in between. Mm-hmm. So I had a crazy structure, but it was like a work-life balance, right? Because I would work and then have a lot of fun, So it really was college experience. To sum it up, was just meeting a lot of people. And when I was putting myself in these positions, I joined a business fraternity, Delta Sigma Pi.
Okay.
And so now, because I was a business major and I was in retail and I wanted to, since 2002, start a business,
Yeah. All right. So here we go. The question I had asked you was, so you're after Radio Shack now, you have a pretty extensive schedule, right? You're partying, you're class president, you're working at Radio Shack, you're working out. So where does the transition after you're in the management training program at Radio Shack? Where does the transition go from there?
So I go from being with Radio Shack and kind of managing all those hats. I joined the business fraternity, Delta Sigma Pi.
Okay.
And it just made sense because with Delta Sigma Pi, I'm a business major. I'm in a management training program. It's an international organization, so might as well. Let me try to start to associate myself with organizations that if I come across a problem, an idea, or a project, I can maybe rely on, some of the older brothers or members where I could possibly partner up with a couple of projects, or I can rely on for support.
Gotcha.
And
was joining that kind of your mindset of being hustle and participation? You're well, if I'm not going to be super great at school, I'm going to hustle and participate as much as possible.
Well, yeah, look, I became class president and I joined a fraternity. So yeah.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
Honestly, I never passed an economics class.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I graduated with a 3.0 in my business management GPA. I guess it was because I did so much for the professors, and I really had a bad habit. I didn't have good school tactics. Mm-hmm. And so when I would go to college and these professors were very dry, I would put my head down because I learned that I'm a visual learner.
Got it.
And if I'm watching you, I'm getting distracted by your in between sentences. I'm getting distracted by you shaking the change in your pockets. Oh. I'm getting distracted by the color of your lipstick, the shine of your earrings.
Got it. So you learned very early, you didn't learn well, you didn't learn in that type of context.
No. So I literally had to do one of these.
And just listen.
And listen. And as I'm listening, I'm repeating what they're saying as they're saying it. Kind of like if you're listening to music and it's a rap song and you're trying to really pay attention, you start to kind of say the words in your mind so you can you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, funny you say that because I learn auditorily. I learn in school through hearing. If a teacher writes it on the board and he asks me to write it, I can copy what you wrote, but it doesn't register to my head. But if you say it to me, instantaneously I can remember it and it goes through my ears. It was I just picked it up right away. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I can look at them, but as long as I'm hearing it, I can retain the information. But if you ask me to write, hey, write this, I'm I don't know what you're talking about, So for me, it's just everything that I learned through my ears. So I knew that very early. So funny you're saying that because that's something that I deal with to this day. That's why I listen to audiobooks and podcasts and I can retain so much information if I listen to it. But if you're asking me to write it or something like that, not going to happen. It's just terrible student.
And that's why as a finance coach now, I tell my members, note takers are money makers, and the repetition to success is repeating
Yeah,
a cycle. You know,
over and over.
repetition is the key to success, and note takers are money makers. And if you practicing those two qualities, you know, it's definitely going to push you a long way. So
Got it. So now you're in college. What happens to the management training program? Do you make it? What happens to Radio Shack? Because I know they go
so
under at some
again,
point.
in Delta Sigma Pi, I um started to reach, you know, run the career fairs.
Okay.
So now with the career fairs, it would be inviting the businesses, helping set up the tables, walking the district managers over to their table, making sure they didn't need anything, you know, communicating with them, email, coordinating with who are the representatives going to be there, what are their names, have their name tags ready, you know, and so a lot of that experience with just like getting the venue, setting up the tables, and inviting, confirming, and then confirming the day of, you know, twice a year, 2 semesters, once per semester for 3 years. By your fourth and fifth time, you're an expert, and those people that were acquaintances are now friends.
Friends. Got it.
So I left Verizon, Radio Shack, to go into Verizon,
Okay.
and it was another management training program.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a junior year in college now, because I was at Verizon my junior year in college, and I was a co-op student for Verizon.
Got it. So you're
So,
working and going to school.
so I took 4 credits, 4 classes instead of 5, because Verizon became my 5th class.
Got it. And what is that job? Is it still selling sales?
It was Verizon Fios in a mall.
Oh, so you're like standing at a kiosk and selling.
Here's the one, the loudmouth in the mall with people all around me, and I'm offering a product, you
Got
know,
it.
which was cable at the time.
Got it. So it's the same thing that you were doing on the football field, just translating.
Same thing. And
Got
the
it.
leadership and the fun and the entertainment was exactly in the mall.
Got it.
I would do silly things like I would ask you to hold this rope. Jerome, hold this rope.
Yeah.
And you'll be on one side, and I'll go to the other side. And I'll say, wait, don't break my rope. And people will literally stop right there because they don't want to break it.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, no, I'm just playing. There's no, you know, there's no break there. But listen, do you have files in your area?
Got it. Now they're stopped and now they're
You know,
listening.
like, you know what? That's a good question. I thought I saw the fiber optics. Well, look, I got a special discount for you. Let me waive the installation fee and let me check your zip code.
Got it.
And then I'll be with somebody right here and be like, oh, look, they just got files in your area. Did you get files yet? Sit right here. Let me check your zip code. What's your zip code, by the way? And I have someone here, someone waiting, and now the crowd all around me, now everybody wants to talk files.
Got it. So it didn't take you very long to be quickly a good salesperson in that job.
No, and then the cool thing about it is that in the management training program, the way that I was able to go up so fast was it was a tier structure.
Okay.
So it was tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. So it was like 18, 21, 24, and $27 an hour.
Okay.
I'm in college. Anything over 40 hours was time and a half. I was working 60 hours a week.
Wow.
I was making great money, you know?
In college too. So
when I hit, no, I didn't. It was all partying, and I wish I could talk to Anthony from 2006 to 2010 and say, Anthony, what were you doing? You know, I would have bottles and I mean, this is real raw and uncut right here, you know? And in my dorm, and, you know, I was a great student. I did it in 4 years. I worked full time. I did management training program. Like, nobody can take that away from me. I partied like an animal, but I did what I had to do.
Got it. So you graduate college now. Where do you go?
No,
you still
so
I'm
in Verizon.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking my senior year that I'm going to open up. I'm going to be like a district manager. I've been with them for 2 years. I've been training people, and they've been bringing me to different locations to train them. I'm thinking I'm a big dog.
Yeah.
There's a transition with management. It goes from tier level to $12 an hour plus commission.
Wow. So the structure just changes.
Hold on. And I'm like, so the structure changes. Senior year, I have offers from other management training programs, like Enterprise, and Sherwin-Williams,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones that I've been inviting for the career fairs. They
Yeah.
wanted me, you know, and I wanted them, but I was with Verizon making good money, and I've already invested time, and I didn't want to jump around. Long story short, they would cut the opportunity. I wasn't going to be a manager. I had to start from the bottom again, and I left. And
Got
I
you.
went to Sherwin-Williams Manager and Training Program.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Sherwin-Williams Manager and Training Program. We took a store in Morristown. It was a low-level store. We got it up to 2.5 million. We cut the costs. We grew the contractor accounts. I opened 33 accounts, which was the most in 1 month at that time. These are contractors to start purchasing from us. We were killing it.
Yeah.
Same field, especially in construction. These guys are loud and they curse a lot. And if you don't speak their language,
Yeah.
portraying that yourself, they may not give you the business. And so it happened there. So my buddy Rico, 2010, I graduate college. This is when I start to transition from product orient based to more service,
Anytime in this in your mind, management training program, the fraternity, are you thinking entrepreneur at any point in this time or not at all?
I was thinking entrepreneur the entire time.
Got it. Okay. So you were just saying, I can learn something from this. Let me just continue to go. Did you know what you were going to sell or what business you want to start or anything?
Well, I knew I wanted to be in service. I didn't want to be in retail. I didn't want to be in the distribution chain. I didn't want any of that. I wanted to be in service. But I didn't know what product I wanted to sell. I didn't know what I wanted to sell. And I knew purposely that everything that I was doing, I was trying to, like a squeezer. I was trying to squeeze as much as I can, get the corporate structure, get the corporate training, see the upward mobility, see the income opportunity, and interview the shit out of the management. And if I can get to the CEO, I'm going to talk to the CEO like that's my boy.
Got it.
Why you like it? Why are you here? What is this? What is that?
And that was your strategy every time you went in there. You were like, I'm trying to learn as much as possible.
Every time.
Got you. Just because you knew eventually you're going to go out on your own. Let me try to soak up as much of this as possible.
Well, yeah, because you see atmosphere, employee retention, managing and maintaining employees, like that is a science in itself. And then you're talking about mastering your craft with business, calculating the revenue cycle, the holding time, how long does it take you to collect? Like, for a business owner, it's very overwhelming. And if you don't put the time and effort to really understand each bucket, then what's going to happen is that you're going to wonder why you're not moving, and you're going to get frustrated. And if you don't have the partners with the experience or been exposed to that experience in a different light, then you may not know how to react to that. And it's okay, because your real reactions and sometimes like your instincts can take over. But I knew that since I was 16 years old, from the struggle that my mother went through, from getting kicked out in high school, that I wanted to retire young. I wanted to retire my mom, although we had issues growing up. That was still a passion of mine. I wanted to be the one in my family that here's $50 just cause. Here's this just cause.
Got it. So
every time that's motivated me.
And every time you were there, you're like, I gotta soak up each one of those buckets before I go out on my own. And that's super smart. That's super smart thinking very early on. That you're gonna see what the insides and the inner workings are before you actually go on your own.
Brother, it was chess, not checkers. And for so many years until 2008, I thought I was on my own.
Yeah.
I was a knucklehead inner city kid that made decisions on instincts. And I didn't have a lot of male mentors or just people that I could look up to that are doing something good. From as small as 2 parents to a business figure. It was my football coach that was really who pushed me to do what I did, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. So now you're out of college. Where are you there? Are you still at Sherwin-Williams? What happened?
So this is how we meet.
Yeah.
So 2010, I'm with Sherwin-Williams. 2011, I'm about to open up a territory.
Mm-hmm.
Here, every time I get somewhere, we get to a peak, something great is going to happen, I take 2 steps back in hopes of going 5 steps forward.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I get vetted in that next level, then I have to be committed.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm committed into doing that, it could be a high income earner, but it's not what I want, then I might feel stuck. And then I'm going to do my career doing something that I never really wanted to do, but because I'm making a lot of money and I have adjusted my lifestyle, the fear of going from an employee to an employer sets in.
Where and you get scared.
Like the person that is transitioning and wants to start that business gets too comfortable. And then because they don't have those accountability partners and because they haven't experienced it, they shell up.
Gotcha. And that's what kind of happened to you when you got to Sherwin-Williams at the next step.
Well, no, at Sherwin-Williams, I had an opportunity to open up a territory, but my buddy Rico Rodriguez says, Anthony, I just got this amazing opportunity to this management training program, another management training program. You can start your own business. You can start your own marketing. It's zero to invest. We're going to give you the tools. They're going to training. They're going to give you a team, and then you're going to make a lot of money.
And you're off to the races. You leave Sherwin-Williams and you go.
And I leave Sherwin-Williams on the 1-year anniversary. It was October 11th. And I go into this management training program, and I went from making $60,000 a year out of college. And in that management training program, I made $18,000. The best experience that I've ever had. I will never forget it. I'm forever grateful. Pitching, going door to door. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And the audience knows my story as well. So you were out there knocking on doors selling. What service? Man. What were you selling? The service you were selling?
I was doing direct energy.
Okay, so energy supplier. So you were just knocking on doors, learning how to sell. I mean, you were already selling before, but now you're in a new environment.
I'm in a new environment because now I'm selling, but I'm not selling for a corporation or someone or another organization. I'm selling and developing and interviewing and training to build and sustain my team, which is a duplicatable program.
Yeah.
So if I have a system that I could duplicate and I can show someone else how to do that, well, that's working proactive versus reactive, right? What the business says.
Yeah.
So I go to Confide, and I was there for 2 years. I get to assistant manager. I'm about to go into my manager. I have my team. I have my business bank account ready. My girlfriend at the time gets pregnant.
Oh, man.
Guess what happens again? I'm up here at the peak, and we're there at 8:30 in the morning.
And at 12 o'clock at night.
12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, nonstop. And for like
6
5
days a week. She's like, Salsa Saturday? What the heck is Salsa Saturday? But, oh, man.
So she gets pregnant, and then you have to make a considerable life change because that business is not conducive for time and having a family.
So here I am, 2012, 2013. I reach out to Enterprise, another management training program.
Got it.
And the recruiter, Chris Fitzpatrick, is still there. He's like, Anthony, what took you so long? I've been waiting for you. I got the job like that.
Wow.
11 months later, we were expecting another baby. Everything that I was hoping for did not happen. I go into banking, 2015.
Wow.
When I was at Enterprise, it was a great management training program. So many people spoke so highly about the customer service. And I'm not here to say anything negative about anything, but when there's a corporate culture in a specific way, and you have outside people coming in, they take those outside corporate culture and they try to make it their own.
Got it.
And so that what happens is you have management and then staff that begin to butt heads. So for any future entrepreneurs if you're in management role, please understand the corporate culture of the company that you're in and don't take things from outside corporate cultures and try to mix it.
Yeah.
Because then you're sending different messages.
Yeah.
And people like me who's not going to listen to you as my manager and understand the corporate culture, I'm going to speak up, and then that's when we clash, and then that's when write-ups and fires.
Gotcha. So in your mind, right? So you're at Enterprise now, but in your mind, are you saying, man, I got to figure something out for myself? I've been in 3-4 corporate training programs. I've learned different things from each one of them, right? From Verizon, you learn X thing. From Sherman-Williams, you learn another thing. From Confide, you learn another thing. And then now you're at Enterprise and you're learning another thing. Are you in your mind like, I think it's time for me to go on my own, or are you still like, I don't have enough to go yet?
So again, I refer to chess, not checkers. And sometimes it's not on my time, it's on God's time. And I didn't know that until 2008 when I really transitioned. And, that's another topic. But I was in Quickstar, which was Amway Global in 2002, right? I was in ACN, which is American Communications Network.
Yeah, these are all MLMs, right?
I've been in all MLMs. I was in iSpeedway.
Yeah.
I was in Telex Free. Telex Free was my favorite one. It was posting advertisements online. They were out of Portugal, but they got shut down for fraud. I never made a dime, but I had $5,000 in my Telex Free account that I was waiting to transfer. Never saw that money, but
it is what it is.
Sometimes it's the way the cookie crumbles. So I've always been in multi-level marketing. So I was building my craft, understanding different multi-level marketing approaches, and I did not find what I wanted to do for the rest of my life that made me happy, that I can help others providing that experience. And it wasn't until I went into banking.
Got it. And what did you go into banking? Were you a teller again? Like, what was the situation?
No. So good thing that my banking experience early in my career, when I got fired, was not on my record.
Got it. Okay.
So they didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up.
Exactly. Smart move.
So I went there as a personal banker. In 10 months, I was promoted to a business specialist.
Got it.
Because I had that business background. I had all that background. And when I went into a banking role, I wasn't a traditional banker. And so I was in a ShopRite in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Oh, so it's almost like one of those PNC type things where the inside of
it was for Wells Fargo, exactly. Yeah. So I started with Wells Fargo. It was inside the ShopRite, and nobody wanted to be there. Nobody was making numbers in there. Nobody was happy in there. They had a lot of turnover. They had a lot of people who quit. When I got there, remember, we were banging on doors for people to talk to us.
Now you have people just walking in.
I'm in a supermarket with air conditioner, not in the rain or snow, with hundreds of people.
Every day.
Like, oh my God, this is amazing. Where nobody saw the opportunity, I did this. Thought innovatively. I got a clipboard. I got some questions that I looked on Wells Fargo and credit cards and blah, blah, blah. I created a survey. I created a 10-question survey. I printed out 50 copies, and I would go walk up and down the aisle and say, hey, can you do me a favor? I'm just getting a survey from today's customers. Can you just fill out this survey? So when you do a budget plan, do you do a mental budget or a paper budget? When you save, do you save first? Do you save last? Do you save at all? When you purchase, you use cash, debit, or credit. So I knew the products that I wanted to position, and I knew the questions that I wanted to ask.
That's super smart.
How you answer those questions, I'm going to fill you into a category.
And then push that product.
That product.
Got it.
So I'll say, okay, you don't do a budget plan. You're using cash for everything, and it's hard to save. Who do you bank with? I don't bank. Do you have a direct deposit? No, I get check. Well, if I give you a free account, we set up direct deposit, we'll do a budget plan, I'll open up a savings account, we'll do a direct transfer, we'll put you first, and we'll establish credit with a $300 secured card so we can get you back on track. Because I know how important it is for you to buy the house with your family that's growing.
Got you. And just that survey alone, I could see that going sky
Just
high.
that, just those three questions.
Yeah.
Those are my three qualifying questions that I created then in 2015 and that I'm using now.
Got it. So you do that in the supermarket, and what happens? I'm guarantee you become like top salesperson very
I'm
fast.
top salesman. I get promoted. I'm training other banks and other in-stores. Same thing. They take me. I'm the serial kid, and they're gonna go and they're gonna use me. They started shipping me off to different career fairs, similar to Sherwin-Williams, because I was in inner city. I had EOF, so I was the poster child, right? They just had me up there. I was urban, Latino, like
you hit all the boxes.
Everything they could use, you know? So I was like, here I am, you know, just I'm getting the experience, the exposure, the speaking engagements. You know, I can say I spoke at Rutgers. I could say I spoke at Montclair. I could say I spoke at NJCU.
Got
you know,
it.
all these different local universities. I can say we did a presentation at Dickinson High School years later, you know? And so when I was a banker, it hit me because I'm dealing with everybody, you know?
Yeah.
Color's not a thing, right? And everybody has their own story. And the beautiful thing about what I do is, mind you, by now I've helped well over 2,000 people in 18 different states.
Open up bank accounts.
Countries. I've seen well over 95,000 credit reporting pages in the last 5 years, easy.
Wow.
You know, and when I was a banker and I would look at transactions and I would say, this just happened to me. You know, I paid all my bills. I had a transfer. The transfer didn't go through and it caused me to overdraft. And I'm going to call the bank now and say, listen, I paid all my bill pay. You know, maybe I did the wrong calculations. I made the transfer right away, but they still hit me with an overdraft, even though I made the transfer on the same day. So I really didn't exceed. I didn't have a balance transfer to help from the bank, but the bank still charged me, which I'm sharing with you personally now. And I don't have money issues, thank God, but maybe I just miscalculated all my bill pay and the transfers. And that happens as a business owner.
Yeah.
You know? So it hit me so hard, Jerome, that when clients would overdraft and I have the authority to give them back their overdraft fees, management would say no.
Yeah.
Or if I was positioning a consolidation loan, this client, and I don't know their credit score at the time because we can't pull client information. We can't tell them we can't apply for credit, and we can't disclose what's on the credit report as a bank. We can't do that. So when I would talk to these people and I would build a relationship and I would position a solution and they're all on the solution, and I submit the application and they get declined because they had a 580 credit score. And I'm sorry, and this is training from the bank. Just let them know they're going to get an adverse letter in the mail, give them the decline letter and tell them to call and be on their way. I said, what?
Yeah.
How this person just spilled everything, men and women.
And to talk about your finances isn't an easy thing for people. So to then tell you all of that and then get denied and then you can't do anything about it.
And you know what, like, and ever since I was, you know, I hit a peak where I would be in conversation and certain things that I would say or how I would say it allow people to be comfortable and their emotions would to come out. And sometimes men and women would cry.
Yeah.
And if they're crying or they're emotional in front of me and they're losing hope, and then they decline them, and then I can't really go above and beyond to pick them up or put them on their way or tell them why more was declined, it didn't sit well with me.
Got it. So was that the moment, that light bulb moment where you're like, oh, there's the actual business that I think I would be really good at?
This is it.
Got it.
This is the fresh start. This is the fresh start to help people advance.
Got
This
it.
is me being tired of being sick and tired and not making a difference. And this is for the person that's sick and tired of being sick and tired and doesn't know what to do.
Got it. So do you stay at the bank and you start working on Fresh Start Advantage while you're at the bank? How does that transition fully happen?
Absolutely. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I have an entrepreneur mindset. Now I know what I want to do. Now, how do I do it? How do I charge for this?
Yeah.
How do I make money from this? I know that I'm good at getting information, and I know that I've been trained and like fast forward now, you know, in the beginning, I knew about Fair Credit Reporting Act and I knew about disputes and I knew about credit, but obviously years later, you go from student to coach to, you know, and you're improving on your experience. And now, you know, you can say close to an expert level in a sense, right? Because of experience and time into it, you could say. So I started off helping people. And this is when I started to butt heads with management, but my numbers increased. So I was butting heads with management because I was taking longer time with people, but because I was getting more referrals and I was getting more appointments, but I wasn't using their leads. I was building my own book.
Got it. Okay, so you're helping people with their credit repair, and then because of that, they're sending way more people with you. So they're getting approved from the bank. You're fixing credit, so you're doing. Are you
I'm
charging
opening
for
up
this?
checking accounts. I'm opening up saving accounts. I'm opening up secured cards.
Are you charging for the side of helping people with their credit at all?
No,
Or? Okay,
I'm not charging at the bank.
got you. So you're just doing this so you can learn.
I'm just doing this so I could learn, you know,
Got it.
and I would do it off the hours. I would say, look, I'm not allowed to do this. You know, I would tell them, register here, here, and here, dispute this, this, and this, you know, do this, this, and I was just kind of like
Guiding
telling them first. Like, I can't get too in the weeds, but I'm in the weeds, but you know,
I can't go too far without losing my job. Like you're playing
I can't get
double dutch a little
I
bit.
can't charge you for this additional time, but we're not talking anything about banking right now. We're just talking about your credit.
Yeah.
But we are talking about banking because we're talking about their home. We're talking about their accounting situation. So I would have to get their accountant on the line. And it was just like a whole formula that I had to create on getting more people involved.
Got it. So you're still butting head with management. When does that like full transition happen? When you say, you know what, it's time to go.
That's a excellent question. So I'm pregnant with my second at the time now.
Your wife is.
And you know, my wife at the time this was a cherry on top, actually. We were almost near full term, and so she wasn't feeling good. And she would call the branch. And mind you, I lived in Lodi. I worked in Lodi. I could literally walk to and from, and I don't take days off. You know, like one thing about me, I would probably save all my days off. I was never late to work. I never called out, you know, unless like once or twice, you know, life happens. But, you know, for the most part, like you can count on me. And my manager at the time, I don't want to say any names, was not very receptive and open to my wife calling me and saying that she needed me. She had trouble breathing. And it was a tough second full term towards the end of the pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I would ask my manager, hey, I did my work for the day. You know, I have hours off. You know, it's 2:00 or something. She's not feeling good. We close at 5. Can I just use 3 hours of PTO? You have 2 closers, because in the bank you need at least 2 closers. So I always wanted to make sure that everything was done. I wasn't a teller, so I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, is it okay? And I would always get kickback. I would no, this and that and this and that. And I'm like, well, look, my wife is pregnant. I have to be home, you know? Well, if you're going to go home, I'm going to have to write you up. So I said, you're going to have to do what you have to do. Now, I've been at Wells Fargo 2 years. I started credit repair idea like really quickly when I got into banking. So I already had a clientele, but my vision wasn't there yet. I was not ready. I wasn't making the money. So I was like, what am I going to do right now? I'm clashing heads. I think I have an opportunity, but I need to improve myself here and prove that it's a proven concept that at least if I hit my break even, You see, during the confide days, Jerome, I'm sure you had to do your own budget plan. I mean,
Yeah.
with the clawbacks in 2012, I would do my budget plan for 3 to 6 months out.
Yeah. And also the fact that we were, and this, I told these guys, they know this already, the audience knows this, but it's 100% commission sales. So if you don't make sales, you don't make any money, and you have to go out there and like actually go get it. And then there was also something called clawbacks, where Anthony's mentioning, where if you sign somebody up and there was a time window, maybe like a 30-day or 60-day time window, if they decide to cancel the service, you're getting charged back for that. So they're going to come take it out of your following week's check because of that. So you can, sign something up for $1,000 week number 1, and in the 4th week of that month, they're taking that $1,000 back. So you have to be like ready and prepared for it. So it's a very, very tough business. And it's also, you have to learn how to manage your money and keep something aside, because you never know if those clawbacks are coming.
Yeah. So since 2012, I was already well into budget strategies. Right? So when I got to in banking, I was like, I was living off of $20 a service, like I can show you how to survive off $80 a week on eating, counting the loaves of bread, the scoops of tuna, the cup of milk and cereal ration. Like, please, anybody watching, we can have another conversation about
you learn how to make spaghetti 17 different ways,
Yeah. I went back to the old days of rice and spam and eggs. And,
trust me, that business will teach you a lot. So you learn that lesson, you learn how to budget. So the bank is writing you up for, with your wife. How do you put it together to say, all right, I'm making that transition?
So, it got to a point where I feel a lot of us are, where we're not happy where we are. We are unhappy with how we're treated. We know we want to do something, but again, the fear of change takes over. And I started putting myself out there and like putting my resumes out there, but PNC reached out to me through LinkedIn.
Yeah, there's another bank.
And PNC offered me a commercial business banker. Mind you, commercial business banker, most commercial business bankers have 5 to 7 years of banking in their experience. I'm barely completing 2 years of business banking. I'm barely completing 2 years in banking, finishing 1 year in business banking as a business specialist. And I just jumped up 5 years.
Wow.
Really, because of when I was in my interview, and it goes back to it again, everybody. What you lack up with skill, you can make up with will.
Yeah.
And so when I was on the interview, my tactic on interviewing is I would bring a digital form of my resume. I use Prezi or PowerPoint. I would print it out, and I would ask the person interviewing me, hey, it's okay that if we go side by side and view this together. So now instead of going versus, I'm side by side with her.
Yeah.
And now I start pitching her. I gave her the 5 steps to conversation. I built up so much personal relationship with her.
Got it.
We went from, she was like, Anthony, I have a half an hour. I have to go to an event, to being together for 2 hours. My longest interview ever.
And obviously you get the job.
I got the job right away.
Got it. So then do you go into commercial banking? Where is Fresh Start Advancement?
So now I'm in commercial business banking. Now I'm working more from home. I don't have to physically go to a branch.
Got it.
So, and now I'm dealing with businesses in the 1 to 5 million. I'm not dealing with small
mom and pop types. Yeah.
No, not even mom and pop, because some mom and pop are making over 100,000. Some, client, so it depends on where the business volume was, but my sweet spot was 1 to 5 million. I'm talking about that as a personal banker. I'm not dealing with personal consumer checking account issues.
Got it. Okay.
So my issues and my business is it changed. It escalated significantly.
Question: do you see the same thing that's on the personal banking side in business? Do you see the bad credit usage? Do you see the same kind of errors that people were
No,
having?
no, I don't, because a lot of business owners, they don't know how to establish credit,
Mm.
you know? And so what happens is they get into a cycle of using debit and cash or check,
Ah.
or they'll get like a standby letter of credit or a credit limit available with the supplier.
Got it. Okay. But they
So
don't
they have a
actually
line of,
have like a line of credit within their business.
they don't have a line of credit within their business. They have a Sherwin-Williams line of credit for 5,000. They have a
Yeah.
Benjamin Moore credit for 10,000. They
Got
have
it.
Home Depot. They have, the distribution for the brick. They have whatever it may be. They have suppliers that when they're getting their materials,
They give them a net 30, net 60, net 90,
whatever it
whatever.
may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But then they'll say, okay, I'll pay you with a check, or I'll pay you with cash, or I'll pay you with my debit card, or I'll pay
Got
you
it.
with, or I'll pay you with my personal credit
Credit.
card.
So then you're seeing that issue again. So are you then picking up like, oh, businesses don't know how to establish credit and regular everyday people don't know how to maintain and manage credit or establish that as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, it was a game changer because I got Omega Credit certified, which is a whole new world in business banking.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to, do cash flow, like global cash flow worksheets, pretty much creating a story to the underwriter to persuade them to approve the deal.
Mm.
I was working with the accountant to um, report the income that they needed to report to help them on a personal or business financial request. So it became a science.
Got it. So you kind of figured and you learned how to do all these things just by proximity and what you were doing.
It was really just trial and error, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And over the years, it just became instincts. And because I resemble as that little inner city boy that was felt misled and misguided and on my own and making wrong decisions and not financially stable. And I was just in a maze where now I'm in a position where I put myself that I can relate and I can pinpoint very quickly, and then we can navigate and
Got
create
it.
how we're going to
So
get there.
now you're a commercial banker. Are you doing Fresh Start Advantage now? Are you doing it at home with people on the side? Are you still
Yeah,
like, okay,
now I'm doing it at home,
gotcha.
but now the thing is that I'm not doing it for my business clients at the bank. I created through personal referrals my own business
Got it.
with
Okay.
friends and family that
Okay.
knew that I was putting posts online, and one friend sent one friend and that friend sent that friend, and that's so it was really word of mouth.
Got it. And then you're at PNC doing that work over here. Do you jump at some point? Does First Advantage make enough money where you can make the transition, or how do you make that and leave PNC?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It took me a year at PNC. Now, it was tough, but I was used to, because of our depth of managing so much.
Yeah.
So I was at the bank. I had two kids at the time, so I would come home. I would do whatever I have to do at home, put them down, and then I'm doing my credit repair clients at 8:15, 9:15, and 10:15.
Wow.
Those were my only available hours.
So you only had 3 hours to work with a minimum of 2 to 3 clients between that time span, and that's all you were doing. And you just hustled until 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then start again, rinse and repeat.
Sometimes more, because I had some clients that were referred from California,
Oh, and their
and
times is
I got
different. Okay.
a 10 o'clock for me is a 7 o'clock for them.
Yeah. So you're working on that as well. Nice. So it took you a year to make that transition fully happen within your own business. And how do you leave PNC at that point?
So I'm at a crossroads now. Um, I'm going into year 2 at the bank, and I'm starting to get butt heads again. And because there's different tiers in banking. You have your deposits, you have your merchant volume, you have your lending, you have your treasury. There's different politics when it comes into it. It's not like, hey, work your book, keep your book, sustain your book, grow your team, work on your team. Like, I'm working in my business and on my business. If I'm bringing over $1 million deposit and I'm new to my territory, I felt, and maybe I'm making excuses or not, but I felt that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I'm not going to go to a multi-million-dollar business, although they need a business loan. I'm going to make sure that they're not coming to me, because if they decline the business loan, they're going to take the account and leave, and then I'm going to get in more trouble.
Yeah, got you. So you're trying to establish the beginnings, the proper ways of doing it before they go anywhere else.
Right, because I can spend that time.
No, I mean, it's super smart. The smart part is that you're trying to give them the foundation so that when they do get the bank loan, that they know how they're doing it. But that's not the bank's business. The business model is to get broken people and have them string along the entire process. Because the less you know, the more they can charge you for stuff along the way.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, there's monthly service fees.
Yeah.
You have fraud that you have to, especially for businesses that, if their main form of payment is check, and their vendors, and they're sending 100 checks a month, well, that's a lot of exposure for fraud. So, a lot of that. And
So thank you so much for sharing your story and how you kind of got here. One thing I love about your story is that you had the entrepreneur mindset from early, but you didn't know what you wanted to do. So you decided to work and let it present itself to you. It's almost like you got this ability to credit fix and teach people financial education, not because that's where you came from. It was just because you went through the process of working in different places and picking up different nuggets along the way. And it almost like it found you and you found it. And that's where you turned into your business. Like, you saw an opportunity, you saw where something was wrong, and you're like, that's what I can fix. That's my business right there. I know I don't like retail. I know I like service. I know I can do well with people. And your story is really good because you used the job hopping, what people would seem as job hopping, you used it to the thing that gave you where you are now, and I think that's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal story of using that, because a lot of people sometimes like, I'm just going to quit and start something, and you're like, nah, it's going to find itself. I'm playing chess, not checkers. I'll get there at some point. And then you found your position, you found what you can fix and what you can fix really well, and you've been off to the races ever since.
Off the races.
So, question for you now, this is a question I used to like to ask everybody. There's somebody out there right now, they just came off a furlough. They're going back to a job they hate. They have a little something cooking on the side, but they don't really know, they're kind of afraid to make that transition, make that jump. What advice would you give that person?
That's an excellent question. I want you to look yourself in the mirror, and I want you to tell yourself, you got this.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to look in your text message history, and I want you to scroll through the last 20 people that you've texted. Are any of those people helping you accomplish that goal right now? Who are you talking to? I would like for you to do your budget plan. If you don't know your numbers, it's kind of like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute.
Yeah.
Good luck. I think that you need to write down your why and your value beliefs, and look yourself in the mirror and really ask yourself, is this what you want? Because there are sleepless nights, there are relationships that are broken, there are people that don't understand and will not want to be associated with you.
That's a big one.
There will be a lot of input of people that have no idea what the heck they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that I practice on a daily basis myself, to be honest with you. Every single day I look myself in the mirror and I tell myself, I got this. Every day when I wake up in the morning and I do my affirmations and prayer, I send my messages, whether it's an uplifting message to a partner or a friend, or reading an uplifting message from a friend or a partner that's sent to me, or confirming my meetings, or saying a message to one of my clients, hey, good job yesterday. Have a great day. Who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Do you know your numbers? A lot of times, if you want to make that transition, or if you're just going off a furlough and you're not a business owner yet and you have a business mentality, what are your numbers? Most of my clients spend most of their money on food, believe it or not, eating out, ordering groceries. Where are you spending your money? And then the last thing really is understanding your why and your values and your beliefs. And so understanding your why will push you to do and understand why you're doing what you do. Why I'm not going to talk to my best friend over 20 years because my best friend's doing the same shit and when he's not talking about anything. You know, my values and my beliefs. I believe in helping others, and I believe people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I want to listen first. You know, and if you're doing those things, there's so much more you can add. But I think that those that resonated me right there, I had to take off my glasses for that one because I wanted to make it really serious for you guys, but focus. You know, the things that Jerome is doing here and the message that we're sharing, we all relate. And if you hold inside of you those thoughts, feelings, and aspirations, then you're just going to think, what if? It's going to be a very hard pill to swallow.
That was big. That was massive. That was, again, let me just reiterate it. Know your why, know your values, have your money in order, knowing what you're spending from what you're not spending, and then go after it and say you got this. I mean, fantastic advice. This for anyone thinking about making that transition, that's massive advice. And although we're breaking it down in very, very small chunks, it's a lot to do. You know, just to sit down and write what your why is to start this company is a massive thing, because you're going to scratch that thing out 7 times. First it's going to be your mom, and then it's not going to be your mom. First it's going to be you, and then you're going to have to figure out what your why. So, I mean, that's phenomenal advice. Thank you so much for that.
Can I share one last thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
And depending how you want to use this, but
can you hold just for 1 second? Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. What is the thing that you wanted to add?
So the last thing that I wanted to add was, a lot of times people get into things for money, and you know, it's not money that makes happiness, right? And sometimes the things that you can do with it. But I really want you guys to really pinpoint, you know, closing with the why. And when you're doing things, right, and if you what are you motivated by? And if you're motivated by the money, okay, what is it? What is the happiness that you're looking for? Mm-hmm. And if you find that, what is it that I'm going to do with the money? I'm going to buy clothes. And what do the clothes make me feel? They make me feel good. If you can find what it is that makes you feel good, then money is not the value of it. You know, when I got into to credit counseling, it wasn't, oh, I want to make $1 million. It wasn't, I want to make 100,000 my first year. You know, it was, I want to help as many people as possible. I want to hear their stories and I want to put them in the right direction.
Give them value.
You know? And that was the value, you know, because now, you know, I'm on vacation, quote unquote. I'll be in Ocean City on the beach taking a call. I'll be in Wildwood, New Jersey taking a call. I'll be in San Diego on a different call. I'm on vacation. But for me, guys, there's no such thing as like a weekday or a weekend, right? A lot of the times we look forward to Fridays and Saturdays. Mm-hmm. Guys, when you find out your why and you know your numbers and you're motivated by your beliefs and values, I think about money like I think of air. I just don't think about it. And I know that the activities that I'm going to do is going to bring in what I need to survive because I properly priced my margins, and the effort that I'm putting out is far covering my break even.
Yeah. And when you say know your numbers, I want you guys to be clear on what Anthony's talking about. It's knowing what your break even, what you need to survive on a day-to-day basis. Also knowing what you're going to price your product or service so that you are covering that based on how much work you need to do. So Anthony might know his numbers to say, I only need 3 clients to make my overall whole nugget for the end of the month. Now, if he does 8 clients that month, he's over by a dramatic amount. And he's made sure that his price points are all applicable so that he can actually make the money that he needs to make every month. A lot of people, and I've done this in my first business, underprice the value of what your business is just because you want to get started. And as soon as you underprice your value, you're now having to do way more work just to make that little nugget every single month. And knowing what your numbers are, knowing what market value is, understanding all of those things are massively important before you actually go into your business. So that's
Yeah.
what Anthony's
No,
talking about.
and this is, we can definitely go off, but when if you undervalue yourself, right? Sometimes we're scared to come, with the price that we want to really charge, and then sometimes when you get into negotiation with someone, you start to like dilute yourself.
Yeah, really fast too,
Get
because you're new.
down and know what you're bringing,
Yeah.
So, Jerome,
And
this was awesome.
so thank you so much. So if people, they're out there, they need some credit counseling, their stuff is a little stuck, they have a little side hustle, but they want like to make sure their credit's right before they actually go on. How can they find you? How can they reach out to you? And how can they get some of that credit counseling and that value that you bring?
Of course. So thank you again. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the group. I'm really excited about what you do. They can reach me. Again, my name is Anthony Rosa, aka Finance Coach, aka Mr. Remedy. We have our page, Facebook page, Fresh Start Advancement. We have our Facebook, Fresh Start Advancement. And you can look on my website, freshstartadvancement.com. Or you could just email me, freshstartadvancement@gmail.com, or call me. And I don't want to say my number because it's too long. Get it from Jerome or.
I'll have it linked in the description down below, so you guys can just read in the description his website, his number, and his email, so you guys can reach out to him directly. So Anthony, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for being a great guest, and thank you so much for dropping so much value on our guest today.
Thank you so much again for having me. Hope to see you guys soon.
Peace.